I've trained hundreds of men over 30, and I can tell within a week who's going to stay lean and who's going to regain the weight. And it has nothing to do with genetics or willpower. It comes down to 8 specific habits that the leanest men over 30 follow without any exception. And in today's video, I'm going to break them all down for you. That way you can get lean and stay lean for life. Let's go. Number 1, they lift weights 3 to 5 times per week consistently. Now, how many of you guys lift weights here? If not, that has to change right after this video. Because the leanest guys you see, they're not spending a ton of time doing cardio, HIIT training. Sure, they might sprinkle that in from time to time, but what they're really focusing on in the foundation of their exercise is lifting weights, like I said, 3 to 5 times per week. Because what cardio and HIIT training don't do is it doesn't protect your muscle in a fat loss phase. And where most guys go wrong is we try to lose a bunch of weight, but we're not really focused on fat loss. And your goal in that fat loss phase is to keep as much muscle as possible and lose as much fat as possible. But if you're not training weights to keep the muscle, then you're literally missing half the equation. And most of the stuff you lose, most of the weight you lose is gonna be muscle, which is not what you want. So if you wanna be one of the leanest guys over 30, make sure you lift weights 3 to 5 times per week consistently. The second thing that the leanest men over 30 do is they either track their calories or they have a nutrition system that they follow. Now, I say the latter because not every single person loves tracking calories, and not every single person has to track calories if they want to get lean. Now, it does help, and I would recommend it, but I get for some people, it just doesn't fit their lifestyle. It's a pain in the ass. So if you're not tracking your calories, we really like to coach a system called Eat Like a King. And essentially what it is you have big meals that have lower calories in them, but it's really full of like protein and fiber, and it's just so easy to be consistent with them, and you'll still be in that calorie deficit, even though you're not putting everything on MyFitnessPal. Now, we literally made a quiz for you, a free quiz. So if you want to kind of find out what works best for your lifestyle, either tracking calories or doing the Eat the King, put in the comments below. I should download the comments below, fill it out, and I'll personally get back to you to tell you what's the best system, how to execute it to make sure it fits your lifestyle. The third thing that the leanest men do over 30 is they eat at least 0.8 grams of protein per body weight in pounds. So for example, if you weigh 200 pounds, you times that 0.8, you'd have 160 grams of protein per day. Now, a lot of guys really struggle with getting the protein. And sometimes the calories actually are down, so you're in that calorie deficit, but the protein is just super low. Now, if your protein is low, it's very simple. You're either eating too many carbs or too many fats. So you obviously have to substitute and lower your carbs and fats for more of your protein. Now, you might be thinking like, man, 0.8 grams per pound in body weight is a ton of protein. Like, how can I reach that number? You don't have to get there right away, but you do want to build up to it, because that's how you retain your muscle. And going back to point number 1, if you lose your muscle, not good in fat loss phase. So what I recommend doing, if you have a hard time getting your protein, 3 meals a day, aim for 30 grams of protein every single meal, and then have a protein shake as a snack, which is typically about 30 grams. If you mix it with a protein chocolate milk, you can maybe get about 45 to 50 grams. So start with that, build your way up, because if you guys aren't getting enough protein, it's just simply not going to support your muscle, and it's not going to be easy to lose fat and keep it off in the long run. The fourth thing that the leanest men over 30 do is they walk at least 10,000 steps per day. Now, I want to tell you a bit of a crazy story that happened to me during COVID. So before COVID, I was very active in the gym floor, and I was probably walking like 14 to 20,000 steps per day. But of course, when COVID happened, I wasn't working, and my step count went down a lot. So for me, I'm a guy who never really gains weight, and I kind of fluctuate maybe a couple pounds here and there, but I'm pretty standard in terms of my weight, around like 170 pounds. I'm not that tall, I'm about 5'8.5". So when COVID happened though, and I wasn't walking as much, my step count went down. Guess what happened to me? I legit gained about like 5 to 7 pounds in 3 months, which is extremely rare for me. And the reason being was I was still eating the same, but my step count was just lower. So my calories are the same, but my calorie out was down. And that's how I actually just gained body weight. And like I said, I'm the type of guy who really never gains or lose body weight. And I have a very hard time gaining as well. So if you aren't walking 10,000 steps per day, guys, you don't have to necessarily do that right away. But whatever number you're at right now, try to increase it by 20%. So let's say if you're walking 6,000 steps per day, try to aim for like 7,500 to 8,000 steps per day, if that makes sense. Do this, guys, and I guarantee it's going to lean you out and you're going to see that body fat shrink down. The fifth thing that the leanest guys do is they sleep at least 7 to 8 hours every single night. Now, sleep is damn important, guys, and no one likes to talk about it in a fat loss phase. But I want you to think of it this way. Running a marathon is pretty hard to do, right? Now, picture running a marathon on an uphill climb. A lot harder to do, right? It's the exact same thing when it comes to fat loss and sleep. Like losing fat and keeping it off is very hard to do. But if you're combining that and only sleeping like 4 or 5 hours a night, then it's basically the equivalent of running that marathon uphill. It just makes it so much harder. Now, there are a few guys that can get away with like 5, 6 hours sleep because they have a bit of a genetic thing where they can function okay. But for most men, you got to really try to aim and strive for at least 7 hours of sleep. Because here's what happens when you actually don't sleep well. And this is pretty crazy. Your hunger hormone, ghrelin, goes way up. So you're going to feel more hungry. And your satiating hormone, the hormone that makes you kind of feel more full, leptin, goes way down. So you're going to feel more hunger cravings and you're going to feel less full after eating. Let's say you're satisfying your cravings. And obviously, guys, as you know, sleep is so important for your recovery as well. You could be training like crazy. You could be getting your protein in. But if you're not sleeping properly, you're not recovering. And it's like doing a Word document, but you forget to hit the save button on the Word document. So do the best you can, guys, to really prioritize 7 hours of sleep. The sixth thing that the leanest men over 30 do is they do progressive overload when it comes to working out. Now, be honest. How many of you guys track your weight or even track your reps relative to the weight? Probably not too many, right? And a lot of guys just simply do the same exercises, the same weight, the same amount of reps for X amount of time. But the leanest men, we track these things, right? Like we know how much weight we're lifting, we know how many reps we're doing, and we're always trying to increase it every single week. Whether it's increasing the weight by, let's say, even 2.5 pounds, whether it's doing the same weight for even 1 to 2 more reps with the same exercise, we're always trying to get stronger week after week. Now, it's impossible, of course, to always progress because if you always progress, you'd be bicep curling 1,000 pounds in a couple years from now. But the point being is you guys always want to do the best you can in terms of either increasing the weight in the gym or even adding more reps with the same weight. And of course, there's other form of progressive overload as well, like even maybe adding a pause at the bottom where it's toughest and just maybe changing the tempo and slowing it down. But always try, guys, to calculate, always keep track of how much weight you're lifting, how many reps you're doing relative to that weight, and try to improve on those numbers week after week after week. The seventh thing the leanest guys do over 30 is they get back on track after a bad day. Now, every single person has a bad day, right? Like we're humans. Hell, on Sunday, watching the Bills game, big win over the Jags, I literally had about 8 whiskeys and probably about 5 slices of pizza. But I'm getting back on track the next day. I'm working out, my step count's up, I'm back on my nutrition, and I got nothing to worry about, and I can stay lean all year round because I have this set system that I essentially follow. But where we get in trouble is we have a bad day and we let that compound, right? Like a bad day becomes a bad weekend, becomes a bad week. And then next thing you know, we're like, you know what, fuck it. I'll just start next month or I'll start next year, for example. So the key is getting back on track, guys, after that bad day. And if you have a hard time doing that, I'll link a video at the very end and I'll basically tell you how you can stay motivated 365 days all year round. So make sure to check that video out at the end and you won't want to miss it. The eighth thing the leanest guys over 30 do is we have some sort of accountability or some sort of high stakes. Now, a lot of men just try to do it alone, right? Which is why we do good for a little bit, we fall off track, we get back on track. It just kind of goes that slippery slope back and forth, and we can never develop that consistency. So accountability versus high stakes. So what do I mean? Accountability can literally be anything. It could be having like a coach. It could be doing it with your partner. It could be having like a gym buddy, like whatever it is, you want to have some sort of accountability to make sure that you're not doing it by yourself. Now, high stakes, for example, will be something I'm doing. Like I don't have an accountability buddy, but for me, I have high stakes because obviously I lead a coach, I should say a group of men. And if I'm 30 pounds, 20 pounds overweight, I'm not really setting the best example for them, and it's hard to take me serious when I'm trying to give them like fat loss and muscle building tips, right? So my reputation is my stake, and I'm always going to be accountable towards myself and my clients because I got to make sure that I'm in total shape. So either get some sort of accountability or find something high stake that's going to keep you motivated. And like I said, guys, if you want to watch a video how to stay on track, that we're not kind of slipping up, I'll link it right here. And remember, download our free quiz in the comments below. One day I'm probably going to charge it. We give so much value, and I'll literally get back to you in terms of what eating style you should be doing to make sure, again, that you never fall off track and it fits your lifestyle. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk soon.